Okay, in this problem, we have potassium reacting with water, and what you form is potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So in this problem, we want to know how many grams of water will react to produce 1,320 grams of hydrogen gas. So we want to know how many grams of water, so we'll start off with question mark grams of H2O. And we're given 1,320 grams of H2. Now with this problem, since it's a gram to gram, this will be a 4-step problem. So we'll start off with 4 lines here. So that means this very last one here is going to end in grams of H2O. So let's go ahead and get started in on this. So first thing we'll do, we'll put in all of our units and our substances, and then we'll go back in and do all of our numbers. So if we have grams of H2 on top, grams of H2 goes on bottom. And when we're looking at this, remember, we can only change one of these two things. So we can either change grams to mole, or we can change H2 to H2O. So our options would then be mole of H2 or grams of H2O. One thing that you guys should always keep in mind, you cannot go from grams to grams, so that automatically eliminates that option. So we have grams to mole of our same substance. So we've got moles of H2 on top, so we're going to put that down below. And then the same thing, we can either change moles to grams, or we can change H2 to H2O. So our options would be grams of H2 or moles of H2O, because we can only change one of them. So if we change this, then we have to use that. If we change that, then we have to use this. If you look, if we choose grams of H2, it's actually right here. So what that ends up doing is you're just putting a unit back in there that you've already canceled out. Because remember, with the way that this works, is you're canceling out units as you go. So that one automatically cannot be it, because you're not going to repeat units more than 2 times throughout this. So then it has to be moles of H2, and then so moles of H2O gets put down below. Sorry, I did not mean to say just moles of H2. It should be moles of H2O. So now going through and looking at this, anytime you have mole just by itself, so like here you have mole and gram, so there's no other mole with it. Here you have mole and mole. When you have mole just by itself, it's always going to be a 1. Here, you've got a mole with a mole, so that gets different numbers. And then mole by itself with a gram, it's going to be 1. So now with our mole to mole, we'll jump to that one first. Whenever you're doing mole to mole ratios, remember you get your numbers from the periodic, not from the periodic table, but from your reaction. So moles of H2O, you're going to look what number is in front of H2O, and that's going to, you guys can't see that, it's going to be a 2. So we're going to put a 2 there. For moles of H2, you're going to look what's in front of here. Well, we have nothing written there. So in chemistry, since chemists are lazy, if there's nothing written there, it's understood that it's a 1. So we have a 1 there. So now for our grams here. Remember, when you're finding grams, you're looking on the periodic table. So for H, hydrogen is mass is 1.0079. However, it's not just H by itself, it's H2, so it needs to be multiplied twice. So that should be 2.0158 when you punch that into your calculator. So 2.0158. Now, what's nice about this problem is now when we go to figure out the molar mass of water, we've already got a part of it done. We've already figured out the hydrogen part of it. So we just need to tack on an oxygen. So oxygen's mass is 15.999. And we have one of them. So 15.999. Now we got to punch this into our calculator. 2.0158 plus 15.999. Because remember, you're adding these two numbers together to figure out what their mass is. You should get 18.0148. Now, you need to leave these numbers written as they are. You do not need to round them in any way, shape, or form. It's gonna, if you do, that's gonna just create an error for your answer in the end. So now when you look across the top, you're gonna multiply 1,320 times by 1 times by 2. Oops, times by 1 times by 2. It'd help if I punch into my calculator correctly. And then times by 18.0148. Then you're gonna hit divides by, and then open up a set of parentheses. And whatever's on the bottom, that's what you're going to put inside of this parenthesis. So we're going to do 1 times by 2.0158 times by 1 times by another 1, close parentheses, and then hit equals. Now, you could have ignored all of those ones and just divided by that. But if you had other numbers written in there aside from ones, you would need to include those numbers in the parentheses as you go through and work it. So the number that we end up getting, I'm going to write this down below in a different color so it's easier to distinguish, 23,593.2. Now, this is not our answer. Our answer needs to be rounded to sig figs. So if you look back at our problem, we have 3 significant figures, so our answer can only have 3 significant figures. So we've got a 9 here, so we have to round it up. So our answer should be 23600 grams of H2. So there's our answer.